Hi, I'm Brian King, and this is 5 Things Friday. Today I want to talk about tools. Why do we use tools? Well, basically, we use tools to do the impossible. What do I mean by that? Well, take for instance a nail. Try driving a nail without a tool. It is impossible. You can't do it with your hands, you've got to have a tool. Same with cutting a board. Try cutting a board without a tool. Uh, Try tightening or loosening a nut without a wrench. You can't do it. However, if you've got the right tool, it becomes easy. I can drive this nail in a couple of seconds with a hammer. Same with cutting a board. If I have a handsaw, I can cut pretty much anything with a handsaw, any board. With a wrench, I can tighten or loosen the lug nuts on the wheel. Without the tools, it's impossible to do things. With tools, you can do just about anything if you have the right tool. And I like to even go a step further because I like power tools. For cutting wood, I've got a skill saw. I got a chop saw, I got a band saw, I got a table saw. Why? Because it makes it easier. Same with a wrench. I have an impact tool that will basically tighten or loosen anything without hardly any effort on my part. Driving nails, I like the framing nailer. Why? Because it's easy. I can use this all day and not really even get tired. It takes all the effort out of the job. So why am I talking about this? Well, it's 5 Things Friday. I want to talk about power tools for your marriage. Maybe you're at a point in your marriage where something seems impossible. Well, maybe you just need the right power tool and you need to learn how to use it. Like with a nail gun, you don't just pick up one of these and go to work if you've never used one before. You need some instruction. You need to learn how to use it. Everybody knows on the job site, the new guy, watch out for him. Make sure he's trained in what he's using because he's going to be dangerous if you don't. You've got to learn how to use the tools. Nothing wrong with having to learn. Everybody starts out green. That's just how it is. You've got to learn the basics. So, what are the power tools for marriage? Well, hey, it's 5 Things Friday. I'm going to give you 5 power tools that you can learn to use in your marriage. And some of them are really obvious, but it's also in how you put them together. If you're doing a project, you hardly ever just need one tool. You almost always need pretty much every tool you've got at some point. So these 5 aren't the only 5 tools, but it's 5 Things Friday, so I'm going to give you 5. But you got to use them together. You've got to work them together. And then you can do the impossible. You can stay married for the long haul. You can enjoy your marriage for the long haul. You can even get better at being married. So what are these 5 tools? Well, number 1, communication. Sounds simple, sounds basic, but there are hundreds and hundreds of couples that never learn how to communicate. Oh, they talk about schedules and stuff, but they never really get any deeper than the superficial stuff. They never learn to talk about their needs and desires and wants and dreams. They just kind of stay on a superficial level, and when things get tough, they can't communicate. They can't figure things out, and little problems become big problems, and they'll go into a Cold War, and then 20 years later they'll decide they never loved each other and they'll break up. Why? Because they never learned to communicate. Communication is one of the most basic and most powerful tools you need in your toolbox. And it just takes practice. Just like learning to use a nail gun, you've got to practice it. work on it, learn about it, be intentional about learning to communicate and going deeper than just the superficial weather and schedules and news and stuff that's going on like that. Learn to get into their space, into their mind, find out what they're thinking, and then communicate. It's worth it. Number 2, empathy. Now, a lot of people don't like the word empathy because they say you can never really, feel somebody else's pain. But with a marriage, I think you should have empathy. You should know when your wife is hurting, and you should know what it feels like. You should know the depth of it. Sometimes you can tell, well, that's just a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10. And then you need to know if it's a 1 or a 10. And empathy is what lets you do that. You'll know how bad they're hurting and what you need to do to fix it. Some things just need a Band-Aid. Some things need, critical care. You need to really get in there and work on it. So empathy is a super important tool. And it comes with communication. How do you know how they're feeling if they're feeling bad, if they're hurt, their feelings are hurt, or if something's going on that you don't know about? Communicate. Like I said, all these power tools work together. So you've got to have all of the power tools in your toolbox. Number 3, teamwork. So, like, if I'm out and about, I'll call or text my wife and say, hey, do you need anything? Why? Because we're on a team. If I'm near a store and she's not, I can pick stuff up for her. We exercise teamwork all the time. And it is usually exercised with communication, because I find out what she needs, she finds out what I need, and we do it as a team. When we're doing projects, it's the same way. We'll work on it together. I'm good at building, she's good at decorating and designing, and we put our talents together. Teamwork, and we get things done. Number 4, intentional time. The date nights, the coffee time. It's a power tool. If you do that, you'll have incredible results, because you can do what would be impossible to do without it, which is basically have a good marriage. It's impossible to have a good marriage if you don't use your power tools. But with the power tools, it becomes effortless. So get your power tools out and use them. Spend that intentional time. Take the time for a date night. Take the time to go away. Take the time to talk daily. Make sure that you connect when you get home. Don't just show up and be doing stuff and not even say hi and tell her you're home. Have the coffee time. Before you leave in the morning, make sure she's got everything she needs. Say, hey, I'm heading out. Okay, and just spend that extra minute, so she knows that you're still thinking about her and that you're going to come home, and tell her what your schedule is. It's one of the power tools, is that intentional time. And then number 5, and there's probably hundreds of power tools that you need to use, but I'm giving you 5 because, well, it's 5 Things Friday. But the last one I want to share is forgiveness. And it sounds simple, but there are couples that hold grudges and fight about things over and over and over again because they never forgive. They never clean the slate. They never put it behind them. Don't be like them. Forgiveness is a power tool, and it works in both directions. Give your wife a clean slate. Say, hey, I understand, if she says she's sorry, even if she hasn't said she's sorry, just forgive her and tell her, hey, that's behind us now. Let's move forward. Because there is no time machine. You can't go back. Things that have happened, you can't change, but you can change going forward. And, if you need forgiveness, the most important thing with forgiveness is making sure the thing that you're being forgiven for never happens again. And it could be something as simple as forgetting an anniversary. Don't let it happen again. Or it could be something as devastating as adultery or a relationship that you fell into outside the marriage. You can be forgiven for that. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes all the other power tools, the communication, the empathy, the teamwork, the intentional time. You can rebuild trust even after something as devastating as that, as an affair. Hard to believe, isn't it? Sounds impossible. But with forgiveness, it can happen. So, doesn't matter where you've been or what you're doing, it's okay to be new to these things. It's okay to be green, but don't stay that way. Learn how to use your power tools. It makes your marriage so much easier. Just like when you're using real power tools, you use power tools because it makes it easier. So use communication, use empathy, use teamwork, use that intentional time set aside for just you and her, and use forgiveness. With those power tools, you can not only have a good marriage, you can have a great marriage. And if you already have a great marriage, you can have a fantastic marriage and even get better and better. It can get better and better. And the things that seem impossible will just happen. That's it for today's 5 Things Friday. Thanks for listening. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time.